Hi, this is your support video for this week, and I just wanted to go over a few things so that you know what to expect between now and next week and the week after, although there will be more things that come up in the next week. So we're going to just go to week 3 for you, and then down you can see we've got our folder here. The two things that everyone's doing, the general ed and the special ed, will be the empathy mapping and behavior interview, and also the Weebly. So just to kind of quickly go over the Weebly, I'm going to click on this example Weebly, and you can see this is Miss Kim's. And she's got my teaching journey, a nice picture, an about me page, a teaching philosophy, and then even more, where you can see some of the things that she's been doing and what she's put on here. So you're going to create something like that where a potential employer could go and learn more about who you are and what you've done around your career. So some things that you need by the 4th of October would be to create your Weebly. And then we'd like you to have an About Me page that you can just put a few things on here. This is going to be a work in progress. And then the next one is the teaching philosophy. And if you wanted to just kind of put some ideas from our class, or if you've already written one, you can throw that up there. And hopefully you'll be developing that as your career goes along as well. If you have a resume or a CV, then go ahead and attach that. And just a side note, you can make Weeblies private so that no one else can see them. And if you have a unit or a lesson plan that you think is really amazing, then go ahead and put that up there. And then if you're already doing or planning on doing your action research, it's a nice thing to have there. One of the things that we're going to be doing is creating a blog where you can start putting some of the writing that you've done in your critical reflections up there so someone can get to know you. So you could, write about how you use positive behavior interventions and supports, or RP in your classroom, or design thinking, and start giving examples of that. So this is just one assignment. The other assignment is the empathy mapping. Or the behavior interview. And for all of you, you're doing the FBA like we talked about in class. So yours is going to be a little bit more in depth. You don't have to do that simple visual that Mindy gave. Instead, we're going to start pulling together information. So some of the information that you may include is just overview information. So who this kid is and why you chose them, or this student is and why you chose them. The interviews, remember I gave you an attachment to an interview, a structured interview last night that we went over, and I really want you to interview more than one person. So I'm thinking the student, their teacher, maybe another teacher, or school personnel person that knows about the student, and then also the parent if possible. So and then, of course, you'll adapt that depending on the student and their situation. You're going to want to do a review of records. So that could be IEPs. That could be their, if they had an FBA in the past. It could be their psych ed report. You can find out so much information about the student from that. It can be any sort of referrals that they've gotten, office referrals or suspensions or expulsions. It could be attendance, any of these things, any of the records that you have available on the student. Then data collection, and I wanted to show you the chapter. I referred to the book, and the work that we did last night, I told you was from a textbook. Well, this is where it goes through. You've got the anecdotal recordings, or the ABC analysis. So this is where you kind of go in there and you try to figure out like what's causing the behavior, what the triggers are, what the behavior is, and then what's the consequence. And then what you'll do is, once you get to understand a little bit more about the behavior, then you can make decisions about how you can support or help modify that behavior. Then there's the frequency or event recording, which, once again, you have the date, the start time, the end time, the frequency of occurrence, and then the total, so that you're getting to know how frequently the learner's engaging in some certain behavior. And then we have the scatter plot analysis. So once again, you're going to want the date, of course, the start time, the end time, and the duration. And you can use data in 15-minute intervals, like throughout a day or throughout a class period, to really get to know, like, okay, when is this behavior happening? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon, right after lunch? during lunch, whatever it is. And so you can just get an idea. There's also duration recording, and that's to see how long the student is engaging in the behavior. So if they're, throwing temper tantrums or, having a rough time in class, then you can use that. We have the interval recording, which is where we break up the observation into smaller pieces of equal intervals. We talked about that in class last night. And then the momentary time sampling. So here's the interval recording data sheet as well there. And then we looked at this example of Peter. So these are all different things that you can do. And right now we're just gathering information so that we can learn more about the student and start building our FBAs. I'm going to click into our folder. And this is where we worked on stuff, just our class worked on this. And we had the case study that you all read before class, and then you came into class ready to talk about it. So this was the case study. I put you into groups. If you weren't in class, then you will need to do this on your own. But you basically take this case study and then you will answer all of these questions. Notice that the individual and the group activity questions are basically the same, but the individual ones also have these two questions. So if you were absent, then you can do the individual ones and at least get partial credit. Let me see, is there anything else that I need to remind you of? We've got the empathy mapping and the behavior and social needs analysis that are both due by the 27th. And then by the 4th will be the Weebly account. And for right now, this week it'll just be gathering, and then we'll be doing some more readings next week. Oh, another reminder is from last week is to read the, let me go back to it, in fact, read the design thinking. Let me just go back, another one, to week 2, and make sure to read the design thinking article. Let me see if we've got it here. Yeah, right there. So there's the design thinking article that Mindy's asked you to read so that you're ready for class next week. I think that's about it. I wish you guys the best of luck in the next week. And remember, you do have my cell phone number and my email, and I really do want to support you in any way. So please reach out if you have any questions. I hope you have a great day.